Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're diving into something absolutely fascinating that I think every person who wants to learn new skills, not just ARMY, needs to understand, and that's the secret behind how JUNGKOOK, known as BTS's Golden Magne, has managed to master not just one or two skills, but literally 10 different skills at a professional or near professional level, and he did this while simultaneously being a full-time idol with an incredibly demanding schedule. We're talking about vocals, dance, video production and editing, photography, drawing and art, gaming at a competitive level, multiple sports and athletic abilities, music production and composition, language learning particularly English, and rapping and performance skills. Most people struggle to become truly proficient at even one skill in their lifetime, yet JUNGKOOK has achieved competence or mastery across 10 completely different domains, and the question isn't just is he talented, because yes, he clearly has natural talent. But the real question is what methodology, what approach to learning, what mindset and techniques has he employed that allowed him to acquire skills so much faster than the average person? That's what we're going to explore today, breaking down the actual learning science, the psychological principles, the specific techniques, and the systematic approach that explains the Golden Magne phenomenon, and more importantly, showing you how you can apply these same principles to accelerate your own skill acquisition in whatever area you want to improve. So make sure you hit that subscribe button because this is genuinely valuable educational content that goes way beyond just talking about an idol. This is about understanding how human learning actually works at the highest level, and let's dive into the methodology behind JUNGKOOK's incredible learning speed. Let's start by establishing exactly what skills we're talking about and the evidence that he's genuinely proficient at each one, because this isn't about being a casual hobbyist, this is about achieving levels of competence that many people who focus on just one skill never reach. His vocal ability is obviously at a professional level. He's the main vocalist of BTS, he has over 3-octave range, perfect pitch according to multiple assessments, breath control that allows him to sing while executing complex choreography, and the technical proficiency to handle challenging vocal runs and techniques that vocal coaches consistently praise when they react to his performances. His dance ability is equally professional. He's not officially the main dancer, but he's often position center in choreography because his execution is so precise and powerful. He has body control and musicality that comes from years of dedicated practice and natural kinesthetic intelligence. His video production and editing skills are demonstrated through his GCF series, the Golden Closet films that he shot, edited, and produced himself, showing understanding of cinematography, color grading, pacing, narrative structure, and editing techniques that film students study for years to learn. His photography skills are evident in the photos he's shared, showing understanding of composition, lighting, framing, and the artistic eye to create visually compelling images. His drawing and painting abilities have been showcased multiple times, with an understanding of proportion, shading, perspective, and artistic technique. His gaming skills aren't casual. He's achieved high rankings in competitive games like Overwatch, demonstrating the quick reflexes, strategic thinking, and hand-eye coordination required for esports-level play. His athletic abilities span multiple sports including boxing, which he practices seriously, various ball sports, physical fitness and strength training, showing the versatility and body awareness that comes from genuine athletic development. His music production knowledge is evident from his songwriting credits and involvement in the production process, understanding of music theory, arrangement, and the technical aspects of music creation. His English language skills have developed noticeably over the years despite the difficulty of learning a completely different language structure from Korean while maintaining a demanding career. And his rapping ability, while not his primary role in BTS, is competent enough that he's delivered rap verses and shown understanding of flow, rhythm, and delivery. So we're not talking about someone who dabbles in things, we're talking about genuine proficiency across 10 completely different skill domains, which from a learning science perspective is absolutely remarkable and worth studying. Now let's talk about the first key principle that explains JUNGKOOK's learning speed, and that's the concept of deliberate practice, which is different from just practicing or spending time doing something. Deliberate practice, a concept developed by psychologist Anders Ericsson who studied expert performance, involves practicing with specific goals, immediate feedback, focus on weaknesses rather than comfortable repetition, and operating at the edge of your current ability rather than in your comfort zone. We see evidence of JUNGKOOK employing deliberate practice in multiple areas. In vocals, there are stories of him doing hundreds of takes to get a recording exactly right, not because the earlier takes were bad but because he's pushing for marginal improvements and perfection. In dance, we see him in practice videos focusing intensely on specific moves, doing them repeatedly with full effort even when he's clearly tired, which is the hallmark of deliberate practice rather than casual practice. The key insight here is that deliberate practice is mentally and physically exhausting because you're constantly operating at the limit of your current ability, and most people avoid this discomfort and instead practice things they're already good at, which feels good but doesn't lead to improvement. JUNGKOOK's willingness to embrace the discomfort of deliberate practice, to focus on his weaknesses, to accept critical feedback and immediately work on implementing it, to do something 50 times even after he can do it well because he wants to do it perfectly, this mindset and approach is one of the fundamental reasons he improves so quickly in everything he attempts. The second critical principle is cross-training and skill transfer, which refers to how skills in one domain can enhance learning in another domain. This is actually one of the most underappreciated aspects of why JUNGKOOK learns so fast across multiple skills. When you develop expertise in one area, you're not just learning that specific skill, you're also developing meta skills that transfer to other domains. For example, the body awareness and control that JUNGKOOK developed through years of intensive dance training directly transfers to his athletic abilities, making it easier for him to pick up new sports because his proprioception and kinesthetic intelligence are already highly developed. The musical training he received in vocals and rhythm directly transfers to his music production work because he already has deep internalized understanding of musicality, timing, and what sounds good. The visual composition skills he develops through photography transfer to his video editing because both involve understanding of framing, visual flow, and aesthetic principles. The focus and concentration required for gaming at a high level transfers to other skills that require sustained attention and quick decision-making. The discipline and work ethic developed in one area transfers to all areas. This is why people who become highly skilled in one domain often find it easier to acquire additional skills than someone learning their first skill, because they've developed these transferable meta skills. JUNGKOOK isn't starting from zero each time he learns something new, he's building on a foundation of transferable abilities, and the more skills he acquires, the faster he can acquire the next one because the meta skills keep compounding. The third principle is growth mindset versus fixed mindset, concepts developed by psychologist Carol Dweck. People with a growth mindset believe that abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work, while people with a fixed mindset believe that abilities are innate and unchangeable. We see clear evidence of JUNGKOOK operating with a growth mindset. When he struggles with something, his response isn't "I'm not good at this," but rather "I'm not good at this yet, what do I need to practice?" This might seem like a subtle difference, but it's psychologically profound. A growth mindset allows you to view challenges as opportunities to improve rather than as evidence of inherent limitation, to view effort as the path to mastery rather than as something only people without talent need, and to view criticism and feedback as valuable information rather than as personal attack. In various interviews and behind-the-scenes content, we can see JUNGKOOK's growth mindset in action when he talks about wanting to improve, when he seeks out feedback, when he watches himself perform and critically analyzes what he could do better, when he expresses admiration for others' skills not with jealousy but with motivation to learn. This mindset is absolutely fundamental to rapid skill acquisition because it determines how you respond to the inevitable difficulties and failures that occur when learning anything new. The fourth principle is meta-learning, which means learning how to learn. This is perhaps the most sophisticated aspect of JUNGKOOK's approach. Meta-learning involves understanding your own learning process, identifying what techniques work best for you, recognizing patterns in how you acquire different types of skills, and optimizing your learning strategy based on this self-knowledge. We can infer that JUNGKOOK has developed strong meta-learning skills because of how efficiently he acquires new abilities. For example, someone with good meta-learning skills recognizes that they learn physical skills best through visual demonstration and then immediate practice with feedback, so they actively seek out those learning conditions. They recognize that they learn conceptual material best through a certain type of explanation or analogy, so they seek out resources that match their learning style. They understand their own energy patterns and schedule difficult learning during their peak focus times. They recognize when they're hitting diminishing returns from continued practice and need to take a break or switch to a different skill. This level of self-awareness about the learning process itself is what separates fast learners from average learners, and it's a skill that can itself be developed through reflection on your own learning experiences. The fifth principle is spaced repetition and the importance of sleep and memory consolidation. Learning science shows that spacing out practice over time is far more effective than massed practice or cramming, and that sleep plays a crucial role in consolidating new skills and memories. While we don't have detailed information about JUNGKOOK's exact practice schedule, the structure of idol training and schedules naturally incorporates spaced repetition because they practice the same skills regularly over months and years rather than trying to cram everything at once. The key insight is that the brain needs time between practice sessions to consolidate what was learned, to move information from short-term to long-term memory, and to integrate new skills with existing knowledge. This is why sleeping after learning a new physical skill actually improves performance the next day. Your brain is literally rewiring itself during sleep to optimize the new movement patterns. Someone who understands this principle doesn't just practice endlessly in one session, they practice strategically with appropriate rest and spacing, which leads to faster overall improvement despite potentially less total practice time. The sixth principle is the power of fast feedback loops. In learning theory, the speed and quality of feedback you receive on your performance directly impacts how quickly you improve. JUNGKOOK has access to extraordinarily fast and high-quality feedback loops in multiple ways. He has professional coaches and teachers who can immediately identify errors and suggest corrections. He has fellow BTS members who are also highly skilled and can provide peer feedback. He performs in front of massive audiences and can immediately feel the response and see videos of his performance afterward. He records in professional studios with producers who have expert ears and can provide immediate technical feedback. These fast feedback loops mean that when he makes an error or tries a new technique, he doesn't repeat the error hundreds of times before someone corrects him. He gets immediate information about whether what he's doing is working or not, which allows for rapid iteration and improvement. Compare this to someone learning alone without feedback who might practice something incorrectly for months before realizing their technique is flawed. The difference in learning speed is dramatic. The seventh principle is mentor-based learning and the value of learning from those ahead of you. JUNGKOOK had the incredible advantage of joining BTS as the youngest member and being surrounded by 6 other talented individuals who could teach him and model excellence in various skills. RM could mentor him on rapping and language learning. Suga could mentor him on music production and composition. J-Hope could mentor him on dance. Jin could mentor him on certain aspects of vocal technique and performance. This access to mentors who are just ahead of you in various skills is one of the most powerful accelerators of learning that exists. You get to skip past beginner mistakes they already made, you get to see the thought process of someone who has already achieved the level you're working toward, you get personalized guidance that's tailored to your specific current level, and you get motivation from seeing that the goal is achievable because someone you know has achieved it. The apprenticeship model of learning has existed for thousands of years because it works so effectively, and JUNGKOOK essentially had multiple apprenticeships happening simultaneously across different skills through his group members and professional staff. The eighth principle is obsessive practice and the willingness to put in extraordinary volume of practice. While quality of practice matters more than quantity, there's no escaping the fact that achieving mastery in any domain requires thousands of hours of practice. The famous 10,000-hour rule popularized by Malcolm Gladwell, while not precisely accurate across all domains, captures the essential truth that expertise requires enormous time investment. JUNGKOOK's schedule as a trainee and then as a BTS member has involved an almost incomprehensible volume of practice. Trainee schedules often involve 12 to 16-hour days of vocal lessons, dance practice, language classes, media training, and more. Even after debut, BTS members have discussed practicing choreography 8, 10, 12 hours a day when preparing for comebacks. This isn't just casual practice, this is intensive, focused work sustained over years. Most people simply aren't willing to put in this volume of practice, which is why most people don't achieve high levels of skill. Talent might determine how much you get out of each hour of practice, but volume of practice still matters enormously, and JUNGKOOK has put in the volume. The ninth principle is discipline and systems over motivation. Motivation is unreliable because it fluctuates based on mood, energy, external circumstances, and many other factors. Discipline and systems are reliable because they don't depend on how you feel. The idol training system that JUNGKOOK went through essentially forced the development of disciplined practice habits because practice wasn't optional or based on whether he felt motivated that day, it was simply the structure of every day. This external structure eventually becomes internalized as personal discipline where you practice whether you feel like it or not, you show up and do the work regardless of motivation. This is one of the most valuable things someone can learn, that discipline beats motivation over time, that systems and habits are more powerful than relying on willpower. We can see evidence of Jungkook's discipline in how he maintains his skills and continues practicing even during periods when BTS isn't actively promoting, when it would be easy to slack off. Discipline is itself a meta skill that transfers across all domains and accelerates learning in everything. The 10th and final principle is genuine curiosity and intrinsic motivation. While discipline can carry you through when motivation is low, having genuine curiosity and intrinsic interest in what you're learning makes the whole process dramatically more effective and sustainable. When you're genuinely curious about something, you don't need to force yourself to practice, you want to practice because the activity itself is rewarding. When you're intrinsically motivated, meaning the motivation comes from the inherent satisfaction of the activity rather than external rewards, you're more likely to enter flow states where you lose track of time and practice for hours without it feeling like work. From various content and interviews, we can see that Jungkook appears to have genuine curiosity and interest across his various skills. He doesn't just do these things because he has to for his career, he seems to genuinely enjoy them. He picks up a camera and makes films because he finds it creatively satisfying. He plays games because he enjoys the challenge and engagement. He draws because it's meditative and fulfilling. This intrinsic motivation is what sustains the thousands of hours of practice required for mastery, because if it's just external motivation you'll burn out, but if you genuinely love the process of learning and improving, it becomes self-sustaining. So let's synthesize all these principles into a practical framework that you can actually apply to your own learning. First, identify a skill you want to develop and commit to deliberate practice, which means practicing with specific goals, immediate feedback, focusing on weaknesses, and operating at the edge of your ability. Don't just go through the motions, practice with intention and focus. Second, look for cross-training opportunities where skills you already have can transfer to the new skill you're learning, and recognize that every skill you develop makes the next skill easier to learn. Third, adopt a growth mindset where you view challenges as opportunities to improve rather than as evidence of limitation, where effort is the path to mastery, and where feedback is valuable information. Fourth, develop meta-learning skills by reflecting on how you learn best, what techniques work for you, when you're most focused and productive, and optimize your learning process based on this self-knowledge. Fifth, space out your practice over time rather than cramming, and prioritize sleep because that's when your brain consolidates what you've learned. Sixth, seek out fast feedback loops through coaches, teachers, peers, or even recording yourself and reviewing your performance so you can quickly identify and correct errors. Seventh, find mentors or people ahead of you who can teach you and model what success looks like, even if that's just following online experts or joining communities of learners. Eighth, be willing to put in the volume of practice required, understanding that while quality matters more than quantity, you still need substantial quantity to achieve mastery. Ninth, build disciplined systems and habits that don't rely on motivation, creating structure that ensures you practice even when you don't feel like it. And 10th, cultivate genuine curiosity and intrinsic motivation by connecting with why you actually want to learn this skill and finding the aspects of it that you genuinely enjoy. The remarkable thing about Jungkook's learning methodology is that none of these principles are secret or mysterious, they're all well established in learning science and psychology, but what makes Jungkook exceptional is the consistent application of all these principles simultaneously across multiple domains. Most people intellectually understand that practice matters, but they don't actually do deliberate practice consistently. Most people have heard of growth mindset, but they don't actually embody it when facing difficulties. Most people know feedback is valuable, but they avoid it because it's uncomfortable. Jungkook's success comes not from knowing these principles but from actually implementing them with consistency and intensity over years, and that's something any of us can choose to do in our own learning journey. The methodology is available to everyone, it's simply a question of whether you're willing to apply it with the same dedication and consistency that he has. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you found this content valuable, subscribing and liking really helps this channel grow. Share this with fellow ARMY who need this information, and if you want to support further, super thanks is available but totally optional. Whatever form your support takes, I genuinely appreciate it. Thank you so much.